digital radio,
FM,
your smart speaker,
and BBC Sounds.
BBC Radio Scotland.
It's 24 minutes to 8 now. A report looking at those who haven't received any financial help from the UK government's schemes during the coronavirus pandemic says the Chancellor has drawn a line under helping more than 1 million excluded people. The Treasury Committee at Westminster has called on the government to do more to protect people and businesses from the impacts of lockdown. Well, let's hear from a couple of people who've fallen through the gaps in support. Janice McKeever is a self-employed driving instructor on the Isle of Lewis, and Jodie Mccallum is a freelance TV reporter. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Janice, just tell us a little bit about your situation, first of all, when lockdown began.
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me on. Well, my situation is I'm a self-employed driving instructor in the Western Isles. I qualified in February 2019, which makes me reasonably new self-employed, so I've not got enough books to say that I've been working for 3 years. So that in itself immediately excluded me from any form of support from the government.
And the government said that those who were in your situation could fall back on benefits. Was that something you were able to access?
No, not at all. I've fallen through every single part of that net because my partner works, so therefore I don't qualify for universal credit. I don't qualify for job seekers allowance because I'm not a job seeker. And so I have had nothing since March the 20th.
Jodie, what's your experience been?
Oh, it's been exhausting, to be quite honest with you. We've been campaigning to change this and get the Chancellor to listen, and he's just not for listening at all, despite the efforts of so many people, so many MPs. Lots of people are in Janice's situation as well. I'm a PAYE freelancer, so I've been excluded because of the way that I'm paid tax, the way that I'm forced to pay tax due to IR35. So I've been completely excluded as well. And, I've been working with a group Forgotten PAYE, and we've been campaigning to change this. There's a APPG at the moment with over 247 MPs on it who are campaigning to change this, and the news last night was just absolutely devastating. It's just once again the Chancellor completely ignoring the fact that he's done wrong, and he's actually admitted now that he's done wrong. And for PAYE freelancers specifically like myself, he's admitted that we don't even have a scheme to apply to. He's admitted that. So surely the next step is to then right that wrong, but instead he's just wanting to push on and move forward to the next stage. But that we're actually doing more research into this, and Ellie Phillips, who's heading up our campaign, has been incredible, and she's done extensive research which is actually suggesting that it could be up to 5.8 million people that have been excluded from across different groups. So this isn't just as small as 3 million is what we thought. It's actually grown, and the more data and the more stats that are coming out, that this is scandalous. This is huge.
And Janice, what has it meant for you in terms of not having that support? What has it meant for you financially? What has it meant for you emotionally?
Well, financially, I've had nothing. Thankfully, my partner works, so that's kept the wolves from the door. But we're literally like living hand to mouth at the moment. So financially, it's devastating. And obviously, being a driving instructor in Scotland, I can't get back to work, whereas everywhere else in the UK are going back to work. So I can't even try and make up some money, the shortfall for it. But emotionally, it's had a bigger toll because, one, I'm becoming stressed by the day, and even talking to the press is quite stressful. But thankfully, I'm part of Excluded UK, so I've had masses of support from them, just emotional support, and the fact that I know I'm not on my own. And like Jodie just said, I know there's millions of us, and there's 16,500 of us on Excluded UK at the moment. So we all sort of talk to each other and share experiences, and it's just devastating. I think my situation is not as bad, and then I hear someone else's, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I think I count my lucky stars. Because my partner works.
Jodie, when the government says that the scale of its support package has been unmatched by any scheme in recent history, and certainly it has helped a lot of people, they say millions of companies and individuals, they've kept 9.5 million people in work, supported the income of 2.6 million self-employed people, and helped businesses across the UK get through the outbreak. They talk about the fact they act quickly to deliver one of the most generous and comprehensive packages of support in the world, worth an initial £160 billion. What does that mean to you?
Absolutely nothing, because, yes, listen, we have never taken away from the fact that the government have done a great job in terms of the people that they have helped, but they don't need to keep reminding us of all the people that they have helped. They've not helped us. We're UK taxpayers. The bottom line is we've paid our tax, so we deserve parity of support. They don't need to keep reminding us that they've left us behind, and obviously the access to the other things like universal credit, like Janice, for many people, they can't even access basic welfare, and even if they can, how does that compare to 80% of your national average monthly wage? It doesn't, absolutely not. And, a loan is not a grant. It's not the same as a grant. That's then debt that you're getting yourself into. And for most people, they can't get any of the other means of support. So when the Chancellor said, everyone has been supported in some way, they haven't. For a lot of people, they haven't managed to get any help at all. And it's about parity. We've paid our tax too.
I mean, initially
they
said that for some people, particularly freelancers, it was going to be too complicated because many of them maybe didn't have books, or in Janice's case, didn't have her business wasn't running long enough to actually prove what sort of level of income she could have expected.
Nonsense. It's been 4 months now. They've had plenty of time to fix this. Fair enough, in the beginning initially that might have been the case, but they've had months now. And the Treasury Committee, these MPs that are on APPG, they're giving them easy solutions. There's an easy way to fix this. For me, for example, as a PAYE freelancer, HMRC have deducted my tax. They have all my earnings. I can see exactly how much I've earned for every single month for the past 5 years on my government gateway account, so I can work out exactly how much I'm owed. So if I can do that, then surely someone that's sitting at HMRC can do the same. So it's nonsense to say that it's too complicated. It's not a case of them wanting to. It's a case of them just wanting to close the door now and move forward. It's not a case whether they can. It's whether they want to and they don't want to.
Janice, just in terms of the future for you said there that at the moment your business is not one that can restart. Will you be able to actually get your business going once you get the green light? What sort of business might you have left?
Well, I know that hopefully next Thursday the First Minister is going to make some announcements around what can reopen. And I know when the last briefing came that we were actually on from the 31st of July list. So we've got everything crossed. I've got a full driving school. I've been in touch with them over the last 10 days, and we're set to go on the 3rd of August, if the First Minister's listening. I've got a full driving school. I can get back to work. Everyone in the islands wants to get driving again because we're a rural community. We can't really rely on public transport. So we've got 17-year-olds itching to drive. So I've got a great business to get back to if I'm allowed to get back to it. But it's still not going to make up for the 4 months that I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to work extra hard just to make up that money that I've lost over the last 4 months. And like Jodie said, the Chancellor just doesn't seem to care that people literally have been starving.
Let me thank you both for joining us this morning. Janice McKeever there, who's a driving instructor on Lewis. Jodie Mccallum, freelance television presenter.